All right, so we are on page 1, section 2 of the listing agreement ER. So term of the sale, the listing price shall be, and whatever you negotiate with your client, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a negotiation either, whatever your client wants, because you're there to be of service to them based on the education you've provided them, that is the list price of the home. $400,000, $389,000, $1,999,000. Whatever the list price of the home is going to be goes in that blank. With a suggested amount of an earnest money deposit, EMD. So that's another thing that you talk with your client about. Generally speaking, a good rule of thumb, certainly not a standard, is 1% of the purchase price. But you have to have that conversation with your client. How much earnest money are you comfortable putting on the MLS and asking buyers to provide? And that's all negotiable too when you receive an offer. Totally negotiable. If it comes in too low, you can ask for more. But that is something that goes there. That is earnest money deposit. Then we move on to terms available. So what do terms available mean? Some sellers may say, I only want a cash offer. I want it clean. I don't want to deal with the financing, the appraisal conditions that may arise from a buyer that requires a loan to purchase the home. So they have every right to say, I'm only going to consider cash offers. Now, as an agent, you would probably encourage them not to do that because that would limit their buyer pool. By limiting their buyer pool, limits demand, increases time on market, etc. So you have cash. CONV is conventional. That is another type of financing. Conventional qualifies after the borrower puts down a minimum of 20%. So if you have an FHA buyer putting down 3.5%, they are not conventional. Okay? So you have conventional, FHA, which generally speaking is 3.5%, but in that case, you could put down more than 3.5% and still be FHA. And then if you're going to lease it, VA, that is if you were in the military, if the buyer was in the military, that's what that loan is. Lease option, owner will carry. I would not, as the broker of Glenna Group Real Estate, I would not get into lease options or owner will carries unless you specifically talk to Matt or I. Okay, so in my opinion, when filling these out, I believe that you should check cash, conventional, FHA, and VA. Lease option or owner will carry, probably a conversation with Matt and I. And then there's the box other. Again, I would not veer from the box here. So I would just probably leave that blank, okay? Note, if the property is offered for lease, then the term seller used in this agreement includes lessor as applicable, okay? Just in case you're gonna lease it. So we're on line 17 of section 2 of the listing agreement. Seller does or does not authorize broker to disclose the existence of multiple offers to purchase a property, potential buyers. What does that mean? Basically, if I get a call from an agent and we have more than one offer, I have to abide by what the seller has asked. I can either go, yes, we have multiple offers, or I have to say, hey, I can't disclose that information. What would I encourage in this situation? I would encourage a seller to click does. Why? Because it creates the FOMO effect. If someone were to call me and I have an offer in this hand and they're asking me if I have an offer, I think it's advantageous when it comes to negotiating to say, yes, I have an offer in hand. Now, I would not get into the details of that offer, but I would say, yes, I have an offer in hand. And my hope and my encouragement to you and your seller would be that you that buyer is now more anxious and excited to write an offer. So that is why I think it's advantageous. So to me, it's always does, but you need to have that conversation with your seller. All right, we're on line 20 of section 2 of the listing agreement ER. Seller does or does not authorize broker to disclose the offer's price and terms. I guess that could have gone together. But what does this one mean? So you may have permission, and sometimes again, this is advantageous. You know, list price is $400,000. You get an offer for $400,000 in hand. You get a phone call from an agent saying, I'd like to write an offer. It could be advantageous to say, I have an at-list offer right now. What would that encourage that next buyer to go do? There's a good chance they may go to their client and say, hey, they already have an offer at list price. In order for us to compete, we have to go higher. So now their offer may come in at 405, 402, even 401, but it's more than the offer that you have. So to me, I think it's again something that's advantageous to your seller to allow you to disclose offers and price and terms to other buyers. And obviously, you need to use your brain and do what's best for you, your business, and your client and their home.